I came to the mountain in a very different route. I actually was ready to go to University of Maryland, and 3 weeks before school started, I got a phone call from a substitute teacher at my high school asking if I had committed to going to Maryland, and at that point I didn't, but that was definitely where I wanted to go. And he said, would you be interested in going or coming down to see Mount St. Mary's? So I talked to my mom and dad and called the coach, and Coach Deegan said, come on down. And we went down and visit. My mom and I drove down for during the week in the hot August, and we met Diane Deegan and Coach Deegan, and they showed us around the campus with nobody there. And I actually fell in love with the place and decided that that's where I wanted to go. On the track, there's a few of them. Probably my most favorite is jumping in Madison Square Garden. I was fortunate enough to qualify for the Milrose Games and was able to jump there on the boards, be there when a lot of the professionals were actually running the mile and things like that. And just the atmosphere of the Milrose Games is really just phenomenal. The other one is just all the traveling we did. We were very fortunate in the fact that the Mount would show us, you know, would actually send us to all the different places that we qualified for. So if we qualified for regionals, we would go to regionals up at Harvard. If we qualified for nationals, we would go either indoors or outdoors. So we were able to travel California. We were fortunate enough to go to Brigham Young. At the time, we were a Division III school, and our Division III national championships were the week before Division I national championships. And because of that, if you qualified and placed in the top 3 at your division, you could go to Division I also. So we were able to double up on a lot of our traveling. So that was my most favorite part, was all the traveling we did. The Mount shaped me a little differently because being a non-Catholic at a Catholic school at first was a little overwhelming. I wasn't quite sure how everything was going to work, but I really appreciated the courses that I needed to take to graduate there. I really enjoyed my theology classes. I really enjoyed my philosophy and my ethics classes. It brought a new awareness to me of things other than the religion that I was brought up in. And I saw the loving environment of which the Mount does. Your friends that you meet there, they're true friends and they're lifelong friends, and that's very special to me. It was a lot of fun. It's kind of hard because even though we were Division III my freshman and sophomore year, we moved up to Division II my junior and senior year. After that, we still competed with Division I athletes almost all the time. When we would go down to Navy, we would be with University of Virginia athletes. We'd be with Maryland athletes. Some of my best friends actually were Penn State athletes. I was jumping, and as a high jumper, you kind of get to know the same girls at all the meets, and most of them were all invitational meets. We had very few dual meets or tri-meets at the school, mainly because we didn't have a track for my first 2 years, because Maryland had come in and put 15 in the middle of our track. So those first 2 years we didn't really have any home meets, so we just went to invitationals all the time, and it was a lot of fun. We never thought of ourselves as Division I or Division II or Division III. We just felt, you know, we were just all athletes. It's an honor and a privilege to be a national champion representing the Mount. It's never been on top of my mind all the time. It's just happened to be great circumstances. My sophomore year, we were Division III. We were still under the Women's Association. We were not under the NCAA at the time. It was like a perfect storm that happened. My parents decided to fly out to California to watch me jump. It was one of the first times Lynn Phelan was out with me, because Deegan was with the guys at the NCAA meet. It happened to be my 20th birthday. I hit a great jump, very fortunate to win at that point in time, and it's been just a privilege to be able to represent the Mount in that way. Title IX for me has always been a very forefront in my mind, because my high school, my freshman year in high school, was the first year that they fielded most of the women's sports. So I was very fortunate in the fact that I got in at freshman year and was able to go through all my high school years as well as college years. It's really opened up a whole different avenue for girls to express their athletic ability. Before, you could be a cheerleader on the sideline, or you could, you know, maybe play basketball or softball, but it just opened up all the sports. It no longer, required you to be one or two, different type of sport athlete. You could now be a tennis player, you can now be a track athlete, you can be a lacrosse player, a soccer player. Those sports were never available to us as we were growing up, and it's just fortunate now that the kids today can actually play any sport that they want. Be prepared to be dedicated. It's not easy. It's not easy for any sport. You have to want to be competitive. You have to want to do well in your sport. It's a lot of training. There's a lot of training that goes on behind the scenes. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of juggling your academics, a lot of making sure that you're up at 8 o'clock in the morning for classes and not taking afternoon classes. But it's well worth any type of, price that you pay for that, for the experiences you get with your teammates and how close you get with your teammates, and with the traveling you get to do, and just the accomplishments that you do. My husband and I are both thrilled that Jenny has decided to go to the Mount. My husband is a Mount graduate also. I met him at the Mount. For my husband's side of the family, it is a really big deal because she actually is fourth generation. My husband's grandfather, his uncle, he and his cousin both graduated together, and now she will be the fourth generation. For me, it's nice to know that she is going to be in an environment where I know she's going to be safe. She's going to get a great education. She's going to be able to play a sport that she absolutely loves, with coaches who are sound in values, and realize the importance that you're there for an education and not just to play a sport. And for us, that's the most important thing, that she is going to be happy in the environment in which she is in.